Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe Smokin, Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to season my brand new Yoder Frontiersman. Now this process applies to any offset smoker, so stay tuned. Alright, so let's get started here. So just want to go over a few items that you're going to need to season your smoker. I've got some dish soap and a good bristle brush. I plan on taking all the grates off and washing them completely. Make sure I rinse them off completely as well. I don't want any soap left on the grates whatsoever. I also have a bottle of grapeseed oil. This is 100% optional. I'm going to apply a thin layer on the outside of that firebox. Even though this firebox is double insulated, I want to protect it from the high heat. Now I know that I will get some discoloration on the paint because of how hot it's going to get, especially around that door, the top side of the door. The firebox itself is going to get hot, even though it is double insulated. It's still going to get hot, but anything that I can do to help protect that metal, I'm going to do that. Now, again, like I mentioned, I am expecting to lose some paint, maybe some discoloration, especially on that lid on top of the firebox. That's just going to take a beating from the hot fire itself. So, but again, that's why they make some of the touch-up paint, so you can touch it up if you're into that stuff. So, now the other thing is I've got 2 cans of canola oil, just your store-bought spray. It doesn't have to be expensive. I'm going to go ahead and spray the grates, the entire cooking chamber on the inside, the stack on the inside, all my tuning plates. I'm going to remove those, spray the top and the bottom. You don't have to do that, okay? Now, I'm choosing to do this just so I don't have any problems down the road. You don't have to do this, especially if you're going to cook a lot or smoke a lot on your smoker. The grease and stuff is going to keep the inside of it seasoned. This is just a one-time thing. If I ever wash it, depends on how it looks. Once I start cooking on it, you know, I might spray it down again, but this is a one-time thing for me, just so that I don't develop any rust on the inside. Now, if you do store your smoker for the winter, let's say you're in the competition cooking, etc., if you're going to keep it in a garage or keep it outside, you want to spray the inside down, especially if you've already washed it, because you will get some moisture in there because of the temperature swings that you have in winter. You know, you might have a warm afternoon and a cold night. That's going to develop condensation in there, so you will get some rust spots. So just as a precautionary, you might want to spray the inside if you're going to store it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull out all the grates and go ahead and wash them down with soap and water. And let me get those washed and I'll bring you guys back, so stay tuned. Alright, so I've got the grates off and I've already washed them, so they're just air drying here. And meanwhile, I slid the far left tuning plate over to the right, and I'm going to go ahead and start spraying. Again, I'm just using regular canola oil, and I'm going to go ahead and start spraying the inside. You want to make sure you give it a nice coating. Again, this can was only like $2, so I'm not too worried about how much I use. Just want to make sure that you coat the entire inside. Now, because it is a spray, you will have overspray, okay? So you might have to touch up the outside of your smoker if you want to. But get this far left tuning plate, get the bottom of the tuning plate, get the bottom of the cooking chamber as well. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera, how much I'm applying. So I got 2 cans just in case. And you can tell where you've sprayed because the surface is shiny. Get the bottom of this tuning plate, just like that. Get these pieces of angle iron here that hold the top shelf, and also the bottom side of the door. Let me zoom out here. There we go. Get the bottom side of that door here. You can just give the whole entire surface a nice coating. That's the nice thing about using this can oil, spray oil, whatever you want to call it. It's got that overspray action going, so everything gets nice and coated. I'm probably getting some on my camera lens right now, but just like that, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of this cooking chamber, and I'll bring you guys back, so stay tuned. Alright, so I've got the grates back in there, and I went ahead and sprayed the grates once they were inside of that cooking chamber, and again the overspray just helped get everything nicely coated. So at this point I'm going to leave the doors open because we are dealing with a aerosol can and oil. I'm just going to let everything vent. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the firebox with that grapeseed oil, so stay tuned. Alright, so I started wiping down the firebox with the grapeseed oil. All I did was put the rag on top of the firebox here and dump maybe 3 tablespoons of oil, and I'm just wiping down the entire surface of this firebox here. Look at these beautiful welds from Yoder smokers. It's like they're stacking dimes. But one area that I do want to focus on is this lid right here, because again this is going to take a beating with that fire, so I want to make sure that I get that completely wiped down. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the rest of this firebox, and I'll bring you guys back and show you the next step. Stay tuned. Alright, so the next step in our seasoning process is to establish a nice bed of coals for our firebox. I use a gas burner to start my coals. I usually let it run for a couple of minutes, and just enough to get the coals started, and then I will turn the burner off and let the coals catch. I'm using just regular Kingsford Blue charcoal, and I always start with a full basket. You can use a full basket, you can use 2 full baskets, but I found that 1 full basket. Now this is a big basket, okay, it's not your regular small one, so this would be equivalent to probably 2 of the smaller charcoal baskets that are out there. So I'm gonna let this heat up, and I'll bring you guys back in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Alright, so my charcoal is ready, and I went ahead and put 1 split of wood on top of the coals there. And if you watch my video where I introduced my Yoder Frontiersman, and I was talking about the ability to open up the door or the top lid of the firebox to let that dirty smoke out, this is exactly what I was talking about. As you can see, the smoke is coming out of the lid on top of the firebox instead of going through the cooking chamber and really giving a bad taste to the food, whatever protein it is that you're smoking. So this is one of the deals that I absolutely love about this Yoder smoker. So I'm going to go ahead and let that split catch, and once it does, I'm going to go ahead and shut the door down and go ahead and let the smoke start to flow through the cooking chamber. So stay tuned. Alright, so I want to bring you guys back. It's been about 10 minutes since I dropped the 2 splits of wood there, and one thing that I did want to talk about, this is very important. Part of the seasoning process is for you to develop a relationship with your smoker. And what do I mean by that? So every smoker is going to be different. So you can't just buy a smoker and start feeding wood into it and start cooking, because you don't know the cool spots, the hot spots of that smoker. And one thing that I highly recommend is that this is the most important part right here. This is probably going to be a 3-hour process for me. So why 3 hours? Well, number one, I've got to make sure the splits are caught 100% before I start to even pay attention to my temperatures. Right now I've got the intake and the exhaust completely open, and all I want to do is get some smoke through the cooking chamber itself. I'm not worried about temperature right now. All I'm worried about is getting to know my smoker. I'm not worried about temperature. I'm not worried about any of that. So right now, again, the intake is 100% open, so is the exhaust, and I want those splits of wood to get 100% caught on fire. What I mean by that is down to just a nice red coals. I don't want a fire blazing in there. At that point, I will start to mess and adjust the intake and the exhaust. So again, this is going to be about a 3-hour process. I'll get to figure out this smoker in about an hour. But if you've never operated an offset smoker, it's going to take you 3 hours to really figure it out and keep feeding splits of wood into it and see what it does. See what it does to the temperature. Does it spike? If you're used to cooking at 275, for example, that's where I like to cook. What's going to happen when I put a split of wood? Is it going to jump to 300, 325? How can I adjust that? Do I need to close the exhaust down a little bit? Do I need to shut the intake down or open it up? So again, this is the vital part of seasoning your smoker. The oil and the washing, yes, it's important, but you have to know your smokers before you start cooking on it. And it doesn't matter if it's a pellet smoker or an offset like this. You just have to know the ins and outs of it. They're all going to have different attitudes. They're going to all operate a little bit different. So at this point, you can see a little bit of smoke coming out of the doors. Nothing from the firebox, just a little bit from the doors. As this smoker gets seasoned, you will start to establish a thicker seasoning on the inside, and that's going to stop a lot of that door leakage. I have a little bit on that right side door. Looks like maybe the back a little bit, but not a whole lot. Again, I'm expecting that once it seasons, everything's going to get nice and sealed. So at this point, I'm going to let this thing run for about an hour, 100% open, and I will bring you guys back and we'll take a look at the temperature. So stay tuned. All right, so it's been an hour since I dropped the 2 splits and that charcoal basket full of charcoal, and I just dropped another split of wood. And let me show you my current settings here. So I've got the intake about halfway open. Okay, there you go, you can see it. So you can see the fire going in there. So I've got the intake halfway open, and this heat damper right here, I've got it about 4 to 5 inches out. Okay, now let me show you my current temperatures. Okay, so I'm at 280 on the bottom right hand gauge, right door. I'm about 315 up here. Okay, top left. The left side door, I'm at 250. Okay, and the top left, I'm at around 265 or so. So right out of the gate, I'm hotter on the right side. So I've got to do a couple of adjustments. This damper door is letting in heat right out of the firebox. So I can do several things. I'm actually going to close this down, probably down to about 4 inches. Okay, so that's going to allow more heat to go under the tuning plates and raise this temperature, because I like to cook at 275. So I'm a little hot on the right side, so adjusting the damper door is going to give me more heat on the left side. So hopefully you guys understand that portion of it. The other thing that I'm going to do is, because I have the stack 100% open, I'm going to close it probably maybe 25% or so. So I'm closing it down just a little bit. Okay, that's also going to keep a little more heat in the chamber, keep it from coming out so rapidly. So again, and I can tell you right now that my temperatures are coming up. Okay, this one here is coming down already. Just that minor adjustment right there. This one is right at 275, 280. So again, just some minor adjustments, some fine tuning now, and this bad boy is going to be ready for some nice cooks. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm probably still going to be tuning this for maybe another hour. I just dropped a split of wood, and I got to tell you, it only used about 1 split in that hour. There was still about maybe half a split of wood left in there, plus the other piece that had burned off. So not too shabby, I gotta tell you. Very fuel efficient. Being so big of a smoker is extremely efficient. So I'll be able to tune it with that split of wood that I just dropped, and I gotta tell you, I will be able to dial in these temperatures. So this one is coming down just a little bit. Okay, I'm shooting for 275 because that's what I like to smoke at. This one is almost to 300, so you can see that the temperatures are coming down. This one is still hovering right at 250, so we'll let that see if that closing the damper a little bit increases the left side temperature. And this one is right at 250, a little over 250, about 255 or so. So the temperature is increasing on the left side. Now, if I don't get my temperatures high enough on the left side, I will close that damper probably another ½ inch and mess with that exhaust just a little bit more to get that fine tune 275. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, build a relationship with your smoker because they're all different. Take the time to season the inside. Learn how to operate it. Learn the temperatures before your first cook, because I hear a lot of stories where people undercook or overcook their food, or maybe it's too fast or too hot or not hot enough. So doing this, trust me, will improve your barbecue game big time. And one more thing, you can see very little smoke coming out of that stack. So it's burning nice. I mean, it's a clean, really clean smoke. And so again, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys liked this video. Ask me any questions. Till next time, Joe is Smoking Joe's Spit Barbecue. See you guys.